cops fire 15 times at a man after detaining him for, this had to be serious, jaywalking. What are you doing? And why? Here's video of the fatal police encounter.
I'm gonna you up. You're gonna get tased, bro. I'm gonna tase you. Get the on the ground. Get up there, get up there, get up there. He has a gun.
Shots fired, director, and James Lopez, code 3, open north. 350, officers okay?
Now here's what I want you to focus on. Detained for jaywalking. We can get into the other details, but this is what we're doing in San Antonio. San Antonio police officer detained a man for jaywalking last month before chasing him on foot after the man ran away, shooting at him 15 times during the pursuit. But police say Jeffrey Schopp died from a self-inflicted gunshot to the head. Incident took place December 3rd when San Antonio police officer James Lopez was driving his patrol car and spotted a man with a backpack going across the street without using a crosswalk, which is a Class C misdemeanor in Texas, punishable by up to a $200 fine. Atlanta Black Star with the update here. Lopez pulled his car over, stepped out, ordering the 33-year-old man to walk toward him and stand in front of his patrol car. "I'm not doing all that, man," Schopp responded as he sat on a railing. "Am I under arrest?" "You're detained right now. Walk over there," Lopez said. "For what?" Schopp asked. "For crossing the street without a crosswalk. Go walk over there," the cop responded. "I apologize, sir," said Schopp. But Lopez began raising his voice, expressing annoyance toward the man. Doesn't look like there's a lot of people on this street. I'm not saying that he should be jaywalking, but shouldn't common sense prevail here? "I ain't looking for an apology," the cop said. "Come over here right now before I put you in handcuffs." There it is. Schopp continued apologizing, telling the cop that I had to get to the hospital. But the cop was insistent that he walk towards him. "I ain't listening to S," Lopez said. "Come over here now." That was when Schopp dropped his backpack and ran across the street into a parking garage, with Lopez pursuing him. He was joined by other cops who were also pursuing Schopp. They got time for this. One point during the pursuit, Schopp ended up in a drainage ditch with the cops close behind, but Schopp tried to run away under a bridge over the ditch, apparently pulling out a gun, which is when Lopez fired 12 times. The other cops can be heard yelling, "Drop the gun," but it does not appear as if they fired their guns. But Lopez fired an additional 3 times after replacing the magazine in the gun, which is when Schopp fell to the ground. San Antonio police initially said that Schopp had fired at the officer and was killed after he was struck in the chest by a bullet. But now they're saying Schopp had died from a self-inflicted gun wound, according to KENS5. Lopez, who has been with the San Antonio Police Department for 4 years, has been placed on paid administrative leave as the Bexar County District Attorney's Office investigates the shooting. Deadly encounter marked the 20th San Antonio Police Department officer-involved shooting in 2024, according to KENS5. San Antonio Police Lieutenant now, David Bacareza, said in a critical incident video providing details on the shooting that investigations into officer-involved shootings are comprehensive. They can take over a year. Well, what's so different about officer-involved shootings that they need to take more than a year? Are they more comprehensive, these investigations, than other shootings? I don't know what was going on with Schopp, if he was troubled, had some kind of mental anguish he was experiencing, some kind of mental health issue. Maybe he was paranoid. You shoot at me 15 times and replace the magazine. Maybe he said, I'd rather take my own life. I don't know. We don't want to make light of it. But I want you to comment on this, please, Yaz. It started with jaywalking, an apology and a pursuit, and then this guy's shop is dead.
Yeah. This is kind of like what we were talking about earlier as far as why people pursue positions of authority, right? Cops, most cops that I've talked to at least, will tell you that they became cops because they wanted to serve their communities, right? That is the answer that they give you. They will not say that they pursued that path because they wanted to wield forceful authority over people. They will not say that they pursued it because they got out of the military and found that they had no other marketable skills. And they will not say that they liked the high salary and the minimal education requirements. They will say that they wanted to serve and protect. But whether or not that's actually the reason why they became cops, these cops here in San Antonio, is this their definition of serving and protecting? This community is not safer than it was before this cop shot this guy, 15 times for jaywalking of all things. Which is more harmful to a community? Is it jaywalking or is it murder? Because I don't care that a cop did this. This isn't law enforcement. This is murder. And I'm not buying the excuse that the guy ran. You can no longer blame people for running from the cops because we know what happens so often whenever cops get involved. This cop had his fragile ego hurt. And he had a gun in his hand, and that's all that this is. They want people to respect them, but they don't actually command a whole lot of respect. They will say that their own lives felt threatened without acknowledging how threatening they are to the public. They'll say that he killed himself without acknowledging that the cop did in fact fire several shots at this guy. And Sharon, you said you didn't want to make light of it, and I don't want to either, but I will say, there was an episode of Rocko's Modern Life on Nickelodeon that I saw when I was a child where Heifer, Rocco's best friend, became a cop and the power immediately went to his head. He wrote up his best friend Rocco for jaywalking across an empty street. And even back then, we all knew that that was ridiculous. It was a kid show and we knew it was ridiculous. And I'm sorry that that's the first thing that came to my mind, but it was like these things
Even
that we all see are silly and we're supposed to act like this is real life.
Even a child can learn this lesson on Nickelodeon. And I don't know another industry, profession where, in our profession, journalists, commentators, we're critical of other journalists and commentators. We call it as we see fit. And oftentimes you agree, but you're free to disagree. When, Milli Vanilli was lip syncing, did the rest of the music industry come to their defense and say, nothing to see here, their lips were moving? No. They said, whoa, we don't want anything to do with you. You're not really making music. This is false. But when it comes to police, you don't have anything else to say than, Lieutenant, something about this is going to take more than a year. That's your way of signaling to people, stop paying attention. We're going to wait till you move on to another matter, and then we're going to sweep this under the rug. And this guy who decided to get out of his patrol car and say, get over here for jaywalking, he'll be back. And the community will not only not be safer, it'll be worse than that. Because these are people who don't have good judgment. They don't have good judgment. He should have accepted the apology. There's no crime that he knew of. We don't know if the gun was registered or not, but he wouldn't have seen the gun. The guy said, I'm sorry for jaywalking on this non-busy street. Something about I have to get to the hospital. Leave it alone. And maybe somebody's not pushing up daisies. I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I think this actually ties in with our next story that we're about to cover. It's just the idea that these cops are so well protected, and that doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon, right? They're not very respected, but they're very protected. And you're absolutely right that they're in these positions just because they applied for the job and was accepted into the position, right? Not because they're actually good judges of character or good judges of situations. I'm sure that they get training. Thank God they get some kind of training, whatever they get out there. But it's not fair that they're able to be the entire justice system within one single person under situations of duress and distress, right? In this particular case, it didn't seem like that distressing. It seems like the cop kind of made it happen where there wasn't really as much of an issue. But yeah, I get that cops sometimes are in very, very stressful situations and they need to be trained to deal with those stressful situations. But the fact that they have qualified immunity lets them make these decisions that perhaps they wouldn't have otherwise. And especially
Yeah.
the fact that they have these guns in their hands lets them make decisions that they perhaps would not have otherwise.
And for now on paid administrative leave, Officer Lopez, not only did he prompt this deadly incident, he also, listen, bullets don't have names on them. He endangered the lives of the other officers who showed up to aid in this pursuit. It's sick. And they could have been shot perhaps by the subject who, again, you lied when you said he pointed the gun at you. Did not happen. He shot himself. What can we trust? I don't know anymore.